welcome to Mock the Week. I'm Dara O'Brien. Joining me this week are Andy Parsons, Ed Byrne, Mickey Flanagan, Chris Addison, Hugh Dennis and Diane Morgan. We start with a round called Headliners. Here's a picture of Labour leader Ed Miliband and his brother in happier times. But what does EMIT stand for?
Is it evil mannequins in Top Man?
Does it describe Ed's first year in office? Is it elected, married, isolated, terminated?
Is it just what Ed's brain tells him to do when he's talking? Emit, emit, emit.
It's not simply easy, mate, I'm ticklish.
Is it more street than that, Dara? Is he saying, easy man, I's tasty?
Is it just Ed Miliband is a tosser?
Applauding the sentiment or the hard-hitting nature. Or applauding the existence of a publication in Britain that would run the headline, Ed Miliband is tosser. We're the paper that tells it like it is. We're not...
Is it Ed Martin, your troublemaker?
How about engineers manufacture imitation Tories? Huh? How's that for satire?
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. What feeling of satire?
What's wrong, Britain? Too much truth for you?
Equally satirically, is it Ed Miliband is tipleder?
We're doing callbacks to last week's show now, are we?
Put away your crowbar for 1 minute. Your time-travelling crowbar of comedy.
Ed Miliband in trouble.
Ed Miliband in trouble. Thank you very much. Yes, the answer I was looking for was Ed Miliband in trouble. This is the news that 9 months into the job, Labour leader Ed Miliband is struggling for support within his party and from Labour voters, and there's been fresh scrutiny of his relationship with his brother.
His brother's come out to defend him, though, hasn't he?
Yes.
Because apparently their relationships are a bit frosty at the moment, but you're thinking not as frosty as the Giggs brothers at the moment. At least Ed Miliband can defend himself by going, well, I've only shagged your career, I never touched you off.
That Ed Miliband has demanded that David Miliband is permanently out of focus in photographs.
The Mail, particularly, the Mail are trying to, they're trying to make more of this sibling rivalry thing, which David has denied by saying that it's a soap opera of which I want no part and the public have no interest. And then Ed went... And then David said, hey, I don't sound like that. And they said, no, you sound like that. They didn't really help themselves.
No, you're right.
Don't you think it's time for the mum to step in now and sort this out, really? To say, look, you can both be Prime Minister, but you've got to share.
I was talking to a friend and I was saying, I wonder what Ed Miliband is actually like. And they said, you've met him. And I thought, oh, I have. That is what Ed Miliband is like. I had to be prompted to remember that I had met the man. Where did I meet him? On the Andrew Marr show. Me, Andrew Marr and Ed Miliband, all dork.
Could he have been hiding behind one of Andrew Marr's ears?
You can't do that because they use those for the live feeds.
His ears have to point towards different territories just to bring in this. As the satellites move, so does Mars' head.
If he's surprised, the signal goes in Asia.
What did David Miliband never have the opportunity to do?
He never had the opportunity to give a victory speech. His victory speech that he'd prepared for the Labour leadership election was leaked this week, and it was disappointingly gracious. I felt just once, I would like to see an election where somebody gives a speech where they go, boom! I've done it! I beat it! Oh, yeah!
But also, it was if you're going to essentially have the opportunity to rewrite history, if you're going to leak a speech, then stick in a few things that make you look 9 months later like, just I believe in a society where any woman from Newcastle could go to America and get a job on a talent show and not be sent back. Just weird shit. They go, how did he know? How did he know that was going to happen? And where did he deliver the speech?
He delivered it to his wife in the car on the way home. That must have been an exciting car journey.
At some point in the drive home, I'm assuming she went, David, Excuse me, I've just got to deliberately set off the airbag.
In other news, who has Ed Miliband attacked this week?
The work shy.
He has attacked the work shy.
Which, you know, I think is a bit... He wants the work shy to go to work, which
Well,
I think is a terrible idea. I believe the work shy should stay on the dole where they belong. Where they're a bit of a drain on the economy, fine. So long as they're not at work, that's when they cause problems. As long as they're on the dole, they're not losing your luggage or derailing your trains.
As somebody who spent years signing on and working, I'm offended by that, to be honest with you.
Can you get the energy to be that offended?
I used to like the 80s because you used to go... No one cared in the 80s, did they? You just went into the unemployment benefit. I was all people walking about with buckets and ladders and overalls. Just no one gave it... Just getting the ump because the woman was taking so long. Come on, love, we've all got to get back to work here. Come on. It's like the good old days.
Which coalition reforms are in the spotlight this week?
It's the NHS reforms. This is the whole idea that Cameron had said that basically there's a lot of waste in the NHS. And you're thinking, well, it's a massive organisation. You know, within that organisation, there's going to be a lot of people, presumably, sat around on their bum doing very little. But let's face it, a lot of them are very ill.
The biggest worry for me was when Cameron said he wanted to rid the NHS of imbalances. I thought, how are people going to get to hospital?
It was frustrating. The plan was to hand control to the GPs, who only do a certain part of the work. Like, I mean, the GPs didn't want this because they knew, like, OK, you look after the NHS. They all go, I don't know how the big machines work. I just send the people to do the people who can do the big machine.
The whole idea of the GP consortium, though, is basically using it so as doctors not only going to have to decide what is the best treatment for you, but it's also whether that treatment might be value for money. So each time you go and see your GP, they'll be having a little argument with themselves as to what exactly they should be doing. It'd be like going to see Gollum, you know. come in, nice man. Oh, but he wants the precious. Oh, but he's not very well. No, let him die. Kill him.
The key thing they're trying to get rid of, though, is the cost, isn't it? It's the cost of the NHS. And you can do that with making no changes at all. All you've got to do, really, is get rid of the confidentiality of doctors. If you go to a GP and you know he's not going to be confidential, if he comes out and goes, hey, you see Mr Smith, he's got piles the size of onions, you're never going to go to the doctor again. The whole system will pay for itself.
I don't think you've been watching Embarrassing Illnesses. People are very happy to show off their weirdnesses to doctors. If they could do it in the waiting room, look at that, look at that, look at that. You've seen one of them before, shouldn't be there, should be here. I don't know what's doing there. Look at that, I don't know, seriously, look at that. That shouldn't be doing that. In other news, what is going on here?
But Boris Johnson saying, bloody hell, who called the child support agency?
Boris finally comes in useful as a battering ram.
Is he saying, to be honest, I thought the Olympic Village would be a bit smarter than this?
Is he saying, I will not have people keeping these bikes out longer than they've paid for?
Looks like a new crack crime drama, doesn't it? Tough Cop.
He does look like he's just at a party going, is the toilet this way?
There's a policeman saying, look, it's a fat one from Little Britain.
You know the drugs are good when you think that the Mayor of London has just come into your flat.
What I like in fact is the police are clearly going in one direction, into the flat, while Boris is discreetly coming out of the flat. Well done, keep it up there.
He's in there.
He's in there, get him, quick, get him.
I don't understand. He's got this white cross on a green background on the policeman's helmet. It looks like one of those things, if you squeeze his head, Play-Doh's going to come out of that.
The guy is called Rambo, age 48, and when he saw Boris Johnson, said the words, what the fuck are you doing here? Which is a fair point, not to the police. Like, coppers. Bloody hell.
He's the last person you should take on a raid, because the idea of a raid is a secrecy, right? But he just constantly chunters. He's waiting outside the door. Could you just be quiet? The element of surprise is incredibly important. So, he's like a posh motorbike.
Yeah, it doesn't, because it doesn't work the whole, you know, like you see American crime movies where the police chief's going, I got the mayor on my back about this, Bukowski, and behind him his bar's going, flubbity, flubbity, flub, flub, flub. Whiff, waff, whiff, waff, whiff, waff, flubbity, flub, flub, flub. Whiff, waff.
I think what the fuck are you doing here is a perfectly reasonable response to person turning up during a raid on your house. I think it was a perfectly reasonable response for people who worked in the mayor's office when he first turned up for work.
The points go to Mickey and Andy. Now we play a round called The Apprentice, You're Funny. This game involves Mickey, Diane and Chris. If you could make your way to the performance area, please. This round is a stand-up challenge. I launched a wheel of news, and wherever it chooses to stop, one of our performers must step forward and talk about that subject. The winner is whoever I think is the funniest. OK, here we go. The first subject is school. Who wants to come in on that? Diane.
A lot of my friends are starting to have kids now, and it always amazes me the amount of effort that some parents put into choosing a school for their kids. Because when I was younger, my parents were like, George Tomlinson's is a bit far away, isn't it? She'll only have to cross one road if she goes to St Peter's. That's settled then, St Peter's it is. Yeah, they've gotten high teenage pregnancies, but she probably won't get knocked over. Et momentum mori etwe, that was the Latin that was over the door at my school. It means knocked up but not knocked down. It's a rubbish school, my school, though. It's really rubbish. My domestic science class was about 45 minutes long, right? So they didn't have time to show us how to prepare and cook an apple pie from scratch, right? So to save time, to cut corners, they said, bring in some ready-made pastry and a tin of apples. Ready-made, all ready-made pastry and a tin of... I don't know why they didn't just have a class on how to buy an apple pie.
Thank you very much. OK, let's spin the wheel again. The subject is technology. Chris.
We really take technology for granted now. We live in an age of miracles, right? Not that you would know this, because we take everything just as it's owed to us. Wireless. You got wireless, right? In your house? Yes? Yeah. Some of the older people go, of course I've got a bloody wireless. How do you think I listen to the Archers? Keep it on permanently in case they declare war. I'm not getting caught out twice. I'm not. I don't mean wireless, I mean Wi-Fi, right? Wireless, right? When you first saw wireless wireless, you thought, look at that, look, that is the science fiction of my childhood available to me now in my adult years. Thank you, O providential universe, to be alive at a time such as this is a privilege. And now within half an hour, you're going, work, you bastard! Half an hour is the time between miracle and basic human right. As we can say, we're pathetic. You can be sat in your front room watching Hole in the Wall, right, with your laptop there. Every piece of information you could possibly want in the universe is available to be beamed through the dust of your sitting room to right in front of your chops. That is a bona fide miracle. It goes down for 40 seconds, and we go, oh, my God! This is like living in a third world country. I wish I was dead.
Well done, Chris. Thank you very much. That leaves us with Mickey. Let's see what you've been left with. And the topic is fashion. OK, Mickey.
Bound to be, wasn't it? I've returned to the vest. Happened a couple of years ago. I was walking through Marx's to get me pants. You always go back to Marx's. And, they know, they look at you, they go, you come back and you try. You went the next, didn't you? Got flash. And I saw the vest. Packet of singlet vests. I thought, I'm having them. Put them in my basket. I covered them over like pornography. Got to the counter. I said to the woman, get them in the bag, love, get them in the bag. Got home, I shook one of these vests out. I thought, put it on. I thought, that is the answer. The wife came home. She said, what's all this with the vest? I said, I like them. I'm returned to the vest. She said, I don't mind, but only indoors. So for a couple of years, I've worn the vest sort of in secret. But the other day I'd had a couple of cans of beer and I wanted a couple more, so I got up to go out and my wife said, the vest. I said, no more. I refuse to live a lie. I'm standing up for vest wearers all over the world. And I marched off down the off here. I've got 2 cans of Stella Artois. Put one in my back pocket, cracked the other one open. And I walked back from the off in my vest. I made a discovery. You drink a can of Stella and wear a vest, you get a bit of space.
Well done there. Points to Ring It On again. Our next round is called If This Is the Answer, What is the Question? On the board are 6 categories. Diane, which category would you like?
America.
OK, your category is America. The answer is around 24,000. What is the question?
Is it how many pictures of Pippa Middleton's arse were in the news of the world today?
Is it how many people have to be in a post office before they open a second cashier?
Is it how many perfectly normal children's names are there that Gwyneth Paltrow seems to be completely unaware of?
How many monkeys were shaved to provide Rooney's hair dryer?
As a bald man, you can't even say the word hair transplant. It's a betrayal of you and everything you stand for.
Is it the number of Father's Day cards Ryan Giggs is going to receive this?
Is it how many salads can you buy for the price of 1 in Berlin Aldi?
Is it what ticket number would make you think, do you know, I think I might come back to this deli counter tomorrow?
Is it how many missed calls Simon Cowell has from Cheryl Cole?
Is it how many Olympic tickets did you have to apply for to get Rose Z for the synchronised swimming?
How many times could I punch Piers Morgan in the face before it stopped being fun and I continued to do it out of a sense of duty?
Is it the number of times I say, what a lot of old bollocks, when my wife is watching Likewise to Candle?
No. And do you want a clue? It's about Alaska.
Is it how many emails have, or how many pages of emails have they released from Sarah Palin?
That's very good. Thank you very much, Ed Byrne. Yes, the question I was looking for was approximately how many pages of Sarah Palin's emails were released in Alaska this week. This is the news that 24,199 pages of emails have been released by the Alaska Governor's Office under Freedom of Information laws. The emails date from 2006, when Palin was the state's first female governor, to 2008, when John McCain named her as his running mate for the White House. What did they reveal?
Well, quite a lot of them said, do you want to buy a Kindle for Father's Day?
They're quite boring, actually.
Yes.
There are the emails about her frustration with journalists who keep asking her whether she believes that dinosaurs coexisted with people. And all she really needs to do is show them a picture of herself standing next to John McCain and go, yes.
What these emails reveal is that she's got very little grasp of history. And you're thinking Sarah Palin would not work in this country, would you? Basically, the rednecks seem to like her because she's quite fit with no grasp of what happened in the past. It would be like us electing, as you know, the next Prime Minister, Kelly Brook, and forgiving her when she said the reason that Churchill was the greatest ever Briton was because he provided this country with cheap car insurance.
Are you paying too much for your car insurance?
No, it did show that she's unbelievably dull in her private utterances. Like, this is the stuff that they had to fight to get. And they're really dull, right? As opposed to what she publicly does, like, for example, sitting on a couch covered in a dead bear, right? This is stuff she does willingly, right? The only thing she hides is the really boring
She's only
thing.
got the bear there to keep the crab away.
She hasn't noticed that crab.
Nature in balance. The bear and the crab, natural predators to each other, just circling each other constantly. The two of them trapped in this.
Well, I was going to say, she seems to have a secret cloud base.
That looks like the start of one of the weirdest porn movies you're ever going to watch in your life.
Isn't it a lot, though? 24,000. This is in 21 months, so that's just over 1,000 a month, which is just over 50 a day, which is about 6 an hour, isn't it?
Welcome to
She was
Maths with
doing-
Hugh.
She's sending 6 quite big emails every hour. Is that a lot? How does she find time to govern anything?
It's Alaska. The bears do most of it.
That's why they have to arm them. There's the right to arm bears in Alaska.
In other news, how have exam boards let down students this week? Poor students.
By asking questions that are unanswerable.
In what manner were they unanswerable?
They didn't have enough information in them.
The papers, there were typos or mistakes on the paper.
Yeah.
Yes.
One of the sports science papers was a really tough one. It said name.
Again, they're saying these are impossible. This is an impossible maths exam. Rubbish. You only know a maths exam is impossible when you hear a voice at the back going, "This is bullshit. I'm leaving."
Smashing into the other tables, bang, bang, trying to reverse around, bang, bang. The best exam story ever was there were teachers giving out to us for doing because it's very boring to invigilate exams, and they had games that they devised. It was who's the ugliest student, and the two of them, one of them would walk down and stand next to who they thought was the ugliest student, and then would walk back up again, and the other would go. They would walk down to who they thought was the ugliest student, and they go. Yeah.
My favourite exam story was possibly an apocryphal one of somebody coming out of a biology exam and complaining bitterly that they had thrown in a physics question because this guy even saying, like, because I know about charged particles, I know what a cation is, and I know what an anion is, but I've never heard of an on ion. That was an onion.
There was we did exam once in college, and it was shared. There was a load. You know these big halls with loads of different classes they're in, and one girl had just a conniption fit because it just went wrong. Just this is awful, and she started crying at the table really loudly, and they had to get her out because it's only an hour into the 3-hour exams, and people are like, "Come on, this is tough enough as it is without this going on." So they took her outside and they put her just outside the door, right? And then every time somebody went to the toilet, you'd hear. And you knew the person's going to come back from the toilet in a minute, and you're all going, I don't hear it.
Was that because the invigilator was standing outside the door next to her going, "This one! This one!"
Okay, at the end of that round, the points go to Chris, Hugh and Diane. Okay, now we come to scenes we'd like to see. So if everyone can make their way over to the performance area, I'll read out this week's topics, and then we'll see what our panellists can come up with. Okay, here we go. The first subject is unlikely things to hear on a history documentary.
The Russians had Lemsip. The Americans had night nurse. This was the Cold War.
And it was in this humble florist that the War of the Roses began.
Guy Fawkes' bid to blow up the Houses of Parliament failed when he realised his body was made of jumpers and his head was an old football.
Tonight on Bruce Forsyth's History of Britain, Boadicea, Decea Bode!
Horatio Nelson, one arm, one eye. A tragic example of what can happen if you fall asleep and someone finds your organ donor card.
Welcome to Biggest Historical Boobs with me, Katie Price.
Tonight, I intend to find out exactly what did happen to Hitler's other ball. And my search begins right here in the Albert Hall.
And on Time Team tonight, we're in Stratford-on-Avon, where we've uncovered loads of monkey skeletons and some typewriters.
When Hitler started writing Mein Kampf, he intended it to be a light-hearted romp called Carry On Camping.
John F. Kennedy, Indira Gandhi, John Lennon. If history teaches us anything, it's that if you don't want your child assassinated, don't name them after an airport.
To be honest, I'm not interested in all this old nonsense, really. But since the end of Blackadder, the work's been fairly hard to come by.
It's hard to believe that this crumbling old ruin presented Weakest Link for as long as she did.
Of course, the Bronze Age was the third best age in history.
And now the documentary that every Channel 5 commissioner has dreamt of. Did Hitler sink the Titanic?
We've been digging in this field in Hampshire for 3 weeks, and we've found this one piece of crockery, which tells us we desperately need to get laid.
OK, the next topic is unlikely things to hear over a tannoy.
We apologise to customers who have recently alighted at Northampton. I opened the wrong doors.
Could all the people shopping here at Asda please accept that you are piss poor?
Clean up required in the magazine aisle between loaded and nuts.
Would the parents of the lost child please pick him up from the meeting point? Madonna is trying to buy him.
I'd like to remind customers that our special offer this week is 100% off German bean sprouts.
If you would like to upgrade to first class, then you should have worked harder at school and got a better job.
Could the small boy holding the owl stop running at the wall between platforms 9 and 10?
Would the man on pump number 4 please remove the nozzle from the backside of the man on pump number 6?
Could the owner of the Ford Fiesta 1100 in the car park with the tinted windows and the go faster stripes sort your life out, mate? Will you?
I can't remember what the code is. Would Mr. Fire please report? Please report to the kitchen. That's Mr. Out of Control Fire. Please report to the kitchen before it's too late. I don't want to start a panic.
The train now approaching platforms 3, 4 and 5 is the derailed train from Swansea.
Would the owners of a black Jaguar please move it as it's attacking the customers?
This is your captain speaking. You can now turn on your mobile phones as you'll need to text your loved ones goodbye as we plummet into the sea.
OK, the point to the Chris Hughton. That's the end of the show. This week's winners are Chris Addison, Hugh Dennis and Diane Morgan. Commiserations to Andy Parsons, Ed Byrne and Mickey Flanagan. Thank you for watching. I'm Dara Breen. Good night.
Dara O'Brien explores the Adriatic this Tuesday at 9 in the company of Griff Rhys-Jones and Rory McGrath. So that'll be far from quiet sailing then in Three Men Go to Venice. And drama next tonight here on BBC Two in the thrilling conclusion to The Shadow Line.